So what's up, everybody? This is your boy Jonathan back at it again. I'm at work, so I'm taking my lunch break, but I'm here to give you more guidance. Like I always say, like I didn't have much guidance when I was transitioning into adulthood. Made a lot of bad decisions and ultimately wasted 12 years of my life. I don't want to see nobody waste 12 years of their life, so I am here to give you practical advice that'll help you live a more fulfilling, positive life. It's all about positivity. So, what I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to review the story of when I was taking Japanese and got kicked out. And the reason I want to do that is and give you it's not the full story. Basically, it's not the full story because at the same time, like in one of my other videos, I was talking to this girl in Chinatown, and that happened at the same time when I was in that program. And also when I worked at that summer camp, that had this happen the same time as the Japanese program. So I wanted just to give you a full, just short review of the whole timeline so that you can understand that these stories are not just every which way in my life. Like there was a timeline. So basically went to the community college and I was taking Japanese. And a lot of people didn't like that because a lot of people are racist and they don't like Asians. And so I got bullied about taking Japanese class to the point where people were saying I wouldn't meet people, I wouldn't make friends, I wouldn't get a girlfriend because I wasn't black enough. So I started just basically acting extremely loud and obnoxious like a stereotypical black guy and pissed off a lot of people in my classes and, you know, just was acting loud and obnoxious in class all the time. Got in a lot of trouble. Some the the end the end of one of the semesters comes around, and I was at this Japanese fair for the school. You know, it's a cultural fair where the kids can show off their Japanese culture. And I was there, and these black guys walked in, and they all had on these hip hop clothes and looking all cool and stuff. And all the girls were like, "Ooh la la, look at the black guys!" So they were all focused on all the black guys. And so I thought to myself, man, if I could get like cool hip hop clothes like that, maybe I could get girls like all of them and have all the girls look at me. And at the time, I was dressed like a little nerd, so I was straight up like a little nerd. So I decided like, okay, I'll go get some hip hop clothes. So I got some hip hop clothes, ended up getting the job at the summer camp, and going up there acting loud and obnoxious, like a stereotypical black guy pissing off people. And when that didn't work, I would tell a lot of girls my issues and, you know, just to make them feel sorry for me to get like some attention. And when that didn't work, I would snitch on all the other dudes up there that were like hooking up with girls. And eventually I got fired from that job because I wasn't doing the job and I was just like focusing on girls and trying to impress people by being a stereotypical black guy or whatever. So I get back into the city and I go back taking Japanese. And when I come back to the Japanese program, I really, it cemented in me that I had to look like a rapper to get girls and make friends. So spent all this, most of my camp money that I made at camp, the summer camp that I got paid, went to go buying clothes. So I bought a bunch of clothes, went up there. I was acting like a fool again, just acting like a stereotypical black guy, always loud and obnoxious and getting into trouble. And eventually, I was in this Japanese class with these two girls, and they were encouraging me to act loud and obnoxious and piss people off and annoy people. And then on top of that, they were having me encourage me to go drink with them after school at the bus stop. Like, we would just go to the bus stop and they pull out the hard liquor and we would go drink out there. Well, the semester was over, and by that time, I had failed all of my classes. And the two girls that were basically encouraging me to be act annoying and get on people's nerves, they had totally disappeared out of my life. So I was alone. So I came back to school that summer to take summer classes so that I could, get some credits and continue on my education. And I met this little Chinese girl, the goblin that I was talking about in the last story. And so she had comforted me because basically my whole life had basically fallen apart. And she had comforted me, and would go to Chinatown every day and eat noodles and dim sum and whine about our problems or whatever. And it was pretty cool. At that point in my time, I needed some comfort for what I was going for, and she comforted me for the summer for like 3 months. So what happened was the school started up again. And basically she was kind of like a dropout that would come in and out of the community college once every couple of years. She'd come back to the community college, take a couple of classes, and oh, it's too hard, and she would drop out. So she was not the best mentor, and she's kind of a dropout. So when his school had started, I started going back, and the first day of school, I went to go and was trying to focus on school and buying books and get my stuff together. And we had a falling out because she was yelling and screaming at me because I wouldn't go to Chinatown and hang out with her because I was at school. So we had a falling out, and I kind of just ghosted her after that because she was like, "Why aren't you coming to eat noodles with me? You're too busy with school." And I'm like, "Yes, I am. Like, I'm trying to get my education right now." So that year, I was just taking Japanese classes all year, and I was working at the post office at the time, and the post office is a factory job where you get extremely crusty and dusty and dirty. And everybody knows once you leave that job, you need to change your clothes. But I was so depressed, I didn't care. So I would come to school crusty, dusty in these post office clothes, covered in crust and dirt and all kinds of grime. And I did not care. And so I went to school like that, and I was still being loud and obnoxious in class, and harassing people in class, and I did not care. And I was just depressed, and I was just acting stupid. So by the end of that year, I went to go to the Japanese program office to ask for a language partner because I found out they had language partners. And those people looked at me like some crazy homeless person. Like, what the fuck? Like, we don't have no partners right now. Like, it's just being hella mean about it. And I knew why they were doing it because, of my behavior and the way that I presented myself. And so after that, I had made up these flyers and walked around and gave them to Japanese people, hoping that Japanese students I saw in school, and hoping that, I could get a language partner. And none of them ever answered flyers. And then it was a time where I reflected because basically I had to leave the Japanese program because I was failing all of my classes, and nobody liked me in there. So I just basically had left the Japanese program. And as I was leaving, I'll never forget remembering and thinking about all the other people that went through the program, and they were getting jobs in Japan. They were getting regular jobs. They were going to programs. Some of them were getting Japanese girlfriends. I mean, they were getting all these benefits because they were serious about what they were doing. And I was just clowning around because I got brainwashed about how nobody's going to like me because I'm not black enough, and I'm not this and I'm not that. And that's what I ended up ultimately failing out of that program. Now, the next semester after that, I did go back to the office and asked them for a language partner, and they did give me a language partner. So I used to hang out with this Japanese guy for a good 3 months, once a week, just talking to him. But at that point, it was kind of like I wasn't in the program no more, and it was just like I didn't have no friends to enjoy talking Japanese with or whatever. And it was kind of like pointless. Like, yeah, I had a language partner, but it wasn't really going anywhere because it was like, we can talk, but eventually I'm going to lose this because I don't really have Japanese friends or whatever, and you're only here for a semester. So that was the whole story. And the whole point about it was, how people can get brainwashed into believing things that they shouldn't believe, and it changes their behavior. And then, getting brainwashed can get you in trouble. And so that was the full story. I think that's all the parts, and I added the other stories that I told separately into that, but that was basically the timeline of everything. So that was the whole thing. All right, I'm out, y'all. Peace.